Cruise ship coronavirus chaos. How'd the quarantine on the Diamond Princess cruise ship, how'd it go so wrong? This morning, our Trevino connects the dots.
The Diamond Princess cruise ship is so far the largest concentration of coronavirus cases outside of China. So how did the luxury cruise ship become a petri dish for the potentially dangerous virus? Let's connect the dots. On the last night of what was supposed to be a 2-week cruise, the captain announced that one of the passengers who had left the boat 9 days earlier had been diagnosed with coronavirus. But normal cruise activities continued. According to the New York Times, it took more than 72 hours to impose a quarantine after the Japanese government found out about the case. The Times reports that even after that, sick crew members slept in rooms with healthy co-workers who were serving the public. Medical professionals worked on the ship without full protective gear, and passengers with symptoms went days before being tested. The quarantine has now ended, but health officials are concerned that not enough precaution was taken. Over 1,000 passengers that tested negative were released in Japan, but experts say the exposed people could still develop symptoms. Evacuated Americans are now in quarantine again, this time at American military bases. Connecting the dots, I'm Trevino for H-Town Rush.